Catch Gurl TauX every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
Gurl TauX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams, scrolling through your daily memes. Gurl TauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Gurl TauX is all about. Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen, click subscribe, don't be me. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine. Gurl TauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun and see what Gurl TauX is all about. Gurl TauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Gurl TauX can be seen. Gurl TauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun and see what Gurl TauX is all about. Update stories, laugh and cry. It's Gurl TauX, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more. Gurl TauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun and see what Gurl TauX is all about. Gurl TauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Gurl TauX can be seen. Gurl TauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Gurl TauX is all about. Gurl TauX, log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. Gurl TauX show is here to stay. Gurl TauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Gurl TauX is all about.
Hello. It is, and I decided to wear a little sparkle to celebrate the 100 days of Donald Trump and our new administration. I don't know about you, but myself, I have to say I'm a bit happy with how things have been going. Not everything's perfect. Not everything's flowing exactly lockstep. And, people complain that the prices aren't going down fast enough and interest rates not gone down fast enough. Egg prices didn't go down fast enough. But we couldn't expect everything to happen in like 30 seconds, right, ladies, gentlemen out there? I feel like Trump's been in office for 100 days. And the Border Patrol, or Tom Holman, National Security, those guys are killing it, and they're tighter than my concealed carry purse. And little funny story about my concealed carry purse. So I'm carrying my purse. My son's a Marine. I carry my purse all the time. I did have my gun in it all the time. And I'm a former law enforcement officer, so I do know how to handle a weapon. I've been shooting guns for 40 years or so. And I'm pretty competent, pretty comfortable. I feel like I've got a handle on it. And my son says to me, "Hey, I want to do a little test. I want to test your skills." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he liked to do that kind of thing. He thought it was fun. We did it many times over. Used to take him to the range all the time, even when he was younger. So yeah, okay, let's do that. So we make sure all firearms are empty. There's nothing in them. We made our little range area. Nobody's in there. Nobody's downrange. We did all the safety measures, but he just wanted to literally check and see how quickly I could, use this said holster purse. That was his concern. He's like, I don't trust it. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I don't buy it. Like, how much have you practiced with it? And I said, compared to my actual holster, no, I don't practice. I just put my gun in there. Like, it's a gun holster. It's my purse and I just carry it. And he goes, yeah, but you're right-handed. So you're always carrying I see you. You're carrying your purse on your right hand. Right-handed. I'm right-handed, ladies and gentlemen. I should have grabbed a purse to show you. So, and if my husband wasn't out mowing the lawn, I'd ask him to throw me down one of these purses. And I'll use it because I'm getting ready to do a show on self-defense. So when that show is done, I will actually bring this back and I will show how it's done. But the zipper compartment is open on the back, okay? So the zipper side would be right here. So carrying it on this arm, the zipper would be to my back. Carrying it on this arm, my zipper would be to the front, which means you could reach into that zipper compartment. Carrying it, and he said, don't change anything, carry it how you carry it. So I was carrying it on my right arm, and he goes, okay. And then, he does the mock assault thing. I can't get it. I can't even get to it. Then he's like, okay, we're going to slow it down. So I have to switch my purse to my other hand, then reach in, and my gun is in a holster inside my purse. It's a little small holster. So I reach in and I pull it out, and it comes out with the whole holster. And then I have to fumble with that. Now I've got my purse in my hand and I'm fumbling with that. And he's like, boom, boom, you're dead. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. I realized then and there that my son was so right. You go to the gun shows, you go to other places, and they advertise these gun purses, concealed carry purses, whatnot. But if you don't train with it and you don't practice with it, you are just going to fumble around like an idiot while you're being R-worded and killed. Okay. So if you don't train with what you're using, don't carry it. I since stopped carrying one unless I practice, and I haven't been practicing. So I carry my purse, but I don't put a gun in it because it's useless if you can't take care of it. It's useless if it doesn't work. And the reason I am even using this analogy and saying this in the first place is because we have laws about deportation, and we have laws about our rule of law, how things are supposed to be done, what is considered a criminal, harboring criminals, all the above are things that are in place. But if you don't practice them and you don't use them, they will fail you. Kind of like our last administration. So let's talk about it. Let's talks about it. That's why it's called Gurl TauX, because we're going to talks about it. There's been a lot of Trump wins. The last administration was a complete flop. I mean, literally, they had a president that would flop over. And what's coming if his team keeps slaying? What do we have in store? We've got stats. We've got sass. I always have the sass. We've got Tom Homan and Carolyn Levitt serving tea hotter than a desert summer. Plus, of course, we've got Dear Margaret questions. They're about to light up the sky. Biden era's lit up like a dumpster fire. Anyway, who's ready to see America made safe again? Healthy again? Powerful again? Strong again? Yes, pause for effect. But who's ready to see America great again? Who's ready to see America great? I think it's been decades since we've really been great Great. Are there always going to be some problems? Sure. But nothing like the last administration, in my opinion. So let's go. Let's get to it. I'm going to tell you a joke to start with. I always like to write these bad Dear Daddy jokes that fall flat a little bit. But why did the last administration border policy fail? Because they thought open borders meant hosting a barbecue for MS-13. Now Trump's got Homan out here deporting faster than I can reload my Glock. Let's talk numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies mostly. I don't know. There is so much that has happened in Trump's first 100 days. We're focusing on immigration and safety. That has been a priority. That was a mandate by the American people. 77 plus million people voted for him. He got the popular vote. He got the electoral vote by 307 or 330, 309, 307, 330. I don't remember what the final count was, but it was over 300. He had a mandate from the American people to fix stuff. And we have judges and politicians and these crazy people out there trying to shut it down, trying to stop it, trying to protest, trying to blow up cars and damage vehicles and Teslas. But we have stats that show the shift from the previous administration's chaos to Trump's results. So, deportations. Since January 2020, 2025, Trump's administration has deported 139,000 migrants. Per Tom Homan's April 28th White House brief, compared to Biden's 2024 peak of 300,000, where 80% were border arrests, not interior enforcement. Homan's ICE arrests are up 627% from Biden's era. Wow. Border crossings, March 2025, saw 7,180 southwest border crossings, the lowest in history, down 95% from Biden's March 2024. That was a post on X at the White House. Safety, attacks on U.S. citizens by illegal migrants, whatever you want to call it, dropped significantly with ICE targeting public safety threats like Trendea Aragua gang members. 250 deported to El Salvador. That was reported in Time magazine or Time, probably Time newspaper. I don't know. April 25th. The Lake and Riley Act was signed on March 4th. And it mandates detention of illegal aliens accused of theft or assault, named after a student killed by an illegal immigrant in 2024. Press conference, Homan and Levitt's April 28th briefing touted Trump's executive orders, including one targeting sanctuary cities and another unleashing law enforcement. I will tell you, listening to that, and I might play a little bit of it, but listening to that briefing where Tom Homan says you can go ahead and make your city. You can do your little safe spaces, as you want to call them. But he did say you can make your little sanctuary city, but we're going to do the law. But we're going to follow the law. Levitt slams Biden's mentally incompetence policies, while Homan pushed self-deportation via the CBP Home app. There are tons self-deporting. Of course, DOGE, led by Elon Musk, DOGE has slashed federal bureaucracy with 75,000 federal workers taking buyouts. And when they ordered that the people would be allowed to come back to work, most of them did not. Most of them did not. Trump's team claims it's saving billions, though critics question the math, of course. They're gonna. The cabinet, key players like Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, Kristi Noem, DHS, and Pam Bondi, AG, are driving Trump's agenda like they're in a getaway car. From deportations to tariff wars, there's a lot happening. Ladies, when you're training at the range or caring for protection, you need a government that's got your back. Trump's team is locking down the border so you can focus on living fearlessly. Knowing how to protect yourself should be just about protecting yourself in general, not worrying about whether or not there is an illegal alien around the corner that might come and attack you. I think that's important. I think we tend to forget that there are things happening in this world that we are not paying attention to. And if you're not prepared, you will be caught blindsided. I'd rather be focusing on what I'm making for dinner, what my husband's making for dinner. Most of the time, it's my husband. What we're doing rather than focusing on who's that in my town? Who's that in my town? Why are they here? Why are so many here? You know, people wonder quite a bit about how they got to like this mass middle of the country thing. Under Biden, the border was a revolving door for criminals. Now Homan's out here saying, pack your bags, you're not staying. That's the energy we need. That's the energy we need to keep. Now, I am going to real quickly see if I can find that one. Let's see if I can find Tom Homan. And let's see if it pops up real easily. There we go. All right, so we are going to share this little briefing. We're not going to share every aspect of it, but we are going to share a big chunk of it. I'll pause in between these things here, but I think it is important that we see some of these very interesting parts of what this briefing had in it, because there was some really good and very important parts of this briefing. So we're going to share that, and I will interject as needed. Okay, here we go.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good to see you bright and early on this Monday morning. As you know, this week marks the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. And President Trump's first 100 days have undoubtedly been the most monumental and historic of any administration in American history. President Trump has already delivered on hundreds of promises he made to the American people, and we will continue to talk about all of them throughout this week. Tomorrow, I will host a press briefing at this same time, bright and early again, to highlight the Trump administration's economic accomplishments with our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. And tomorrow night, President Trump will travel to Michigan to discuss all that he has achieved on behalf of the American people. On Wednesday, the president will host an open press cabinet meeting where each cabinet member will discuss their success thus far and their plans for the future. Today, we kick off 100-day week with a focus on the president's historic effort to secure our southern border. Later this afternoon, President Trump will sign an executive order on law and order and another executive order on sanctuary cities. The first EO will strengthen and unleash America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. The second EO is centered around protecting American communities from criminal aliens, and it will direct the Attorney General and Secretary of Homeland Security to publish a list of state and local jurisdictions that obstruct the enforcement of federal immigration laws. After these are signed, the president will have signed more than 140 executive orders already.
Now think about that. Well, let her finish this last statement.
Rapidly approaching the total number signed by the Biden administration over the course of 4 years in office.
Now, one of the things that I have to say about that, there's a few things that have come out is whether or not Biden was actually signing them, whether it's the executive orders, the pardons, whether they were being done with a digital pen, meaning a fake signature, and who was in control of that. But yet still in 100 days, Trump has signed this approximately the same number, if not a little bit more, than Biden did his entire 4 years. And in my impression, I didn't think Biden should have been running the last time when he was president. Whether it's here nor there, whether he was legit or not, I have my questions on how the election went, but that's neither here nor there. I'm actually glad it happened that way because then it goes back to that statement that you hear many times over. Better be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Because they got to see what they wanted and what they got are two different things. They wanted a utopia and they got a dystopia. I don't know what they got a royal mess is what they got. So I question how much of that's legit that he signed in the first place. But it is what it is. And I'm glad that it went the way it went because people get to see. And I think we would not have had such a victory. I mean, Trump wouldn't have been able to run again, but I don't think there would have been quite the victory because they would have just continued the 4 years of, I mean, they're still doing it. They're continuing it now, but it would have just been a continuation of the assault on Donald Trump. And it gave him time to watch, learn, and listen. And he's admitted to the fact that he did some really poor decision making in the beginning of and who he chose to be in his cabinet, who he chose to be around him, because he was unfamiliar. He didn't know how it worked. And now he knows how it works. And he was able to spend 4 years planning on how to handle it. And I think he's done a tremendous job in that aspect of it. Let's continue.
Speaking of Joe Biden, it was his awful open border policies that recklessly allowed more than 10 million illegal aliens to invade the United States over the past 4 years. Innocent Americans like Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungray, Rachel Morin, and so many others were viciously murdered at the hands of these illegal aliens as a result of Biden's dereliction of duty. That's why one of President Trump's central campaign promises was to secure the border and end this invasion. In just under 100 days, 99 now to be exact, the president has overwhelmingly delivered on that promise. America's borders are now secure because of President Trump. He has restored the rule of law, enforced our immigration laws, and defended America's sovereignty. The president immediately declared a national emergency on the southern border, deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion, and ended reckless catch-and-release policies. The results have been nothing short of extraordinary. Between President Trump's inauguration and April 1 of this month, only 9 illegal aliens were released into the United States, a staggering 99.99% decrease from the more than 184,000 illegal aliens who were released into the country under Biden during the same period last year. The number of unaccompanied illegal alien children arriving at the border has also hit a record low. Total attempted illegal crossings at the southwest border hit a record low in February, only to fall to another new record low again last month in March. Just listen to these incredible numbers. In March 2024, under Joe Biden, Border Patrol encountered approximately 140,000 illegal aliens at the southwest border. 1 year later, in March 2025, under President Trump, Border Patrol encountered just over 7,000 illegal aliens at the southwest border. That's another 95% decrease from the prior year. The first piece of legislation President Trump signed into law was the Laken Riley Act, which requires illegal aliens arrested or charged with theft or violence to be detained. President Trump also reestablished the successful Remain in Mexico policy from his first term to ensure that aliens who arrive at our southern border and claim asylum are returned to Mexico to await their hearings instead of being allowed into our country while they wait. The president has also restarted construction of his signature advanced border wall. More than 85 miles of new border barrier are already in various stages of construction and planning. And Border Patrol, in collaboration with the Department of Defense and the great state of Texas, have deployed 75 additional miles of temporary barriers across the southern border. The Trump administration, as you know, has also ended the disastrous CBP-1 app, which Joe Biden exploited to facilitate the migration of nearly 1 million illegal aliens into the country. The Department of Homeland Security has relaunched this as the CBP Home app to provide illegal aliens in the U.S. a straightforward way to declare their intent to voluntarily depart. For years, Joe Biden's weakness.
I have to say, I think it's pretty impressive that, and it's probably has a big part to do with having DOGE and DOGE's team in there, that they were able to repurpose that app for self-deportation. And they have talked about it several times and how many are actually utilizing that, because they have made it very clear that if you go ahead and you use this app and you do a self-deportation, that you can be eligible to try to come back legally another time. If you don't and you're caught, you will not ever be allowed to come back in again. That's what they're saying. And I support that. I absolutely support that. We can't sustain the numbers of people that were coming in without having a plan in place. And you can't just go and drop, basically airdrop a whole bunch of people that don't have money, don't have jobs, don't have, you can't do that on certain populations. And like they saw in we've seen it here in Alabama, what they saw there in Ohio was so many people that were just dropping thousands of people into these small communities that they can't sustain. They can't handle it. And they don't have the skills. The driving was an issue, or is an issue. And so accidents, and of course they're going to run because they're illegal. They're not going to wait around. So, they don't have insurance. There's so many small little caveats to the problem. It's not just the ones who cause assaults. It is the bigger picture in all the aspects. And every time I've listened to the Democrats, and I will say it is disturbing to me that their biggest argument is how we are taking away these people that take jobs that regular people would not take. And no, the definition actually is they are taking jobs that they're being paid cash under the table for, where they will work for less money than regular people that legally work. So in essence, it's a whole new slave group that is these wealthy or elite or whatever want their nannies and their maids and their gardeners, and that's what they talk about. Like, that's all they're worth. That's all their value is to provide services for me, and I don't want to have to pay top dollar for it. That's the way I read that. That's the way I hear that. And to me, that is disturbing. That is upsetting. So now I am going to skip here on the rest of her part of if you want to see the rest of her brief, you can see the rest of her brief. But I am going to have her now transfer over to Tom Homan and have what he was talking about, because I really liked what he had to say. So let's have Caroline pass it over to Tom Homan.
There's no person who can attest to that more than our incredible border czar here at the White House, Tom Homan, who has dedicated his professional career to protecting our country and enforcing the law. I will let Tom deliver some short remarks, and then we'll open it up for questions today. Thanks for being here, Tom.
Thank you. Just a few things. Look, I started in the Border Patrol in 1984. I've been at this for over 40 years. I worked for 6 presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan. Every president ever worked for took border security seriously, because you can't have national security if you don't have strong border security. We got to know who.
Absolutely. That is the most important part. You can't have a strong national security if you don't have strong borders. And when people talk about how we're handling it, or how uh, dictatorish it is and all this other stuff, what are the other rules and laws of other countries and their borders? Have you ever watched any of those videos on YouTube with the airport security when they're coming through and they're going through immigration in the airports as you fly into Australia or New Zealand or any of those places? Man, if they suspect you for anything, your ass is trash. You're not coming into their country. And if it seems like you have a visa and you have a passport, but it doesn't sound legitimate what you're saying you're there for or what you're going to do. And I mean, they dig into these people's phones and they get the app, text messages, and they look through their text messages. And if it shows anything, oh, you'll make $100 a day, they're like, oh, you came here for a job? You can't do that. We don't want you here. Deported. So we're not doing anything that isn't in the best interest of our country any less than the other countries that are taking care of their own country.
Who's coming in, what's coming in, where's coming in, why it's coming in, right? Even President Obama and President Clinton took some steps to secure the border because they understood national security was important. Joe Biden was the first president in the history of this nation who came into office and unsecured a border on purpose. That's just a fact.
That is a fact. The fact that he did that, and we all know it because they were flying people in the dead of night. They were so afraid they could not win this election without having illegal aliens and giving them these money cards and hotels and money to these different places to house them and stuff and feed them and everything else. That I think that was their incentive for them to vote. And that's why they were pushing so hard to not have any kind of regulation or any kind of identification required to vote. If we don't have to prove that you're a citizen and allowed to vote, then we have all these migrants that can vote. And that's why they were dumped into so many places. That's why they were dumped into these places, so that they could bump up those numbers. That's my opinion. That's what I see. That's what I witnessed. And I think that's what all the American people witnessed as well.
We handed the Biden administration, after President Trump's first administration, we handed the Biden administration the most secure border in my lifetime, and he unsecured it on purpose. Now, President Trump and this administration here, the success is unprecedented. We beat Trump's first administration on border success. Border numbers are historic low. Today, as I'm standing here, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation, and the numbers prove it. President Trump's policies are saving lives every day. There's been studies done that says 31% of women that make that journey through use of cartels get sexually assaulted. When President Trump has illegal immigration down 96%, when 96% less people are coming, how many women aren't being sexually assaulted by the cartels? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked into this nation? How many known suspected terrorists aren't making it into this country? How many pounds of fentanyl isn't getting to this country to kill young Americans? How many women and children aren't sex trafficked? Under Joe Biden, sex trafficking is up 600%. We had 4,000 aliens dying making that journey. We had 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl that came across an open border. President Trump's policy saves lives every day. Even the border wall saves lives. The people want to hate on the border wall. Every place a border barrier has been built, illegal migration's declined, illegal drug flows decline. But you know what no one talks about? The border wall saves lives because the most vulnerable, the women and children, can't get over that wall, which means they're going to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women of the United States Border Patrol who will take care of those humanitarian needs, the health needs right off the bat.
That is so important. That what he said is that there are people in place ready at these areas of the border where there aren't a wall, because the children can't get over these walls. And the other thing, and there's a lot of missing children that they're looking for, that they're trying to determine. There are a lot of Border Patrol agents. I know of a few personally. I know of some. And this was back before, when Trump became in office the first time, and they talked an awful lot about separating the children from their parents and stuff. And a lot of people don't have the comprehension or the understanding or knowledge of what happens with a coyote. So, to give you a little explanation of what a coyote is and what they do, is they are paid participants to help facilitate getting illegals across the border. Most of them are illegals themselves. Some are not. Some are paid participants that are just willing to take a huge chunk of money to human traffic and bring them in. And that's basically a bad word for human trafficker, is the coyote. Now, the thing is that coyotes do, and there are quite a few actually, of women and men who have sold their children to these coyotes in exchange for their facilitation to get them across the border, because they want to come here and they're in MS-13, or they're in gangs, or they just want to do some drug trafficking or whatever it is that they're doing, and they don't have the money to pay the coyote, so they pay the coyote in human trafficking. They pay them with their own children. They pay them, and this happens with women. It happens with drug addicts. It happens with people that just want to come here and they don't care about human life. And unfortunately, it is very common that human life is not respected in other parts of the world. So it doesn't mean anything to me as a person who doesn't care about human life, and I just want to get over the border myself, and I want a free passage because I don't have the money, but I also got this 4-year-old or this 6-year-old or this 10-year-old that's just really a backpack burden on me that I don't really want to have. I don't care about. So here, I'll pay you with that person. And then they human traffic that child to sex predators and into the trafficking world of selling people. And the numbers in that realm are so astronomical. It's disgusting what people do, and it's sad. And these children are the results of that. These children are the ones that are being hurt. These children are the ones who get taken. And do these other people really actually care? Have you seen the Sounds of Freedom movie? Have you seen the Sounds of Freedom movie? It is so sad what happens and how it has affected so many people. So I'm going to play you this really quick. It is the Sound of Freedom trailer, and then we'll get back to Tom Homan. But I think it is really important for us to see what has transpired here. What is happening in our country where we're not paying attention, and it's happening, and we're being quiet about it. We're being shut down about it. We're being told don't say anything. We're being told nothing's wrong here, nothing to see here, when there really actually is something to see. Just an FYI, this came out in 2023. If you have not seen it, please go and watch this. I believe it's on Angel Studios, but I also think you can find it other places.
How'd that make you feel? Giving a child his freedom.
Felt good.
You have been at this for 12 years.
My country, 'tis of thee.
Why are you doing it?
Sweet land of liberty.
Because God's children are not for sale. It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces.
And where my fathers died.
And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
Land of the Pilgrims'
And yet somehow you have failed to bring me one real-world lead.
It's over, Tim. Close up and come back home.
So you quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
South of that river is all rebel territory. No one goes in.
What if this was your daughter?
Sorry, man. She's gone. Hear that? That's the sound of freedom.
That is a excellent movie, and if you have not seen it, please go see it. That is absolutely so important for us to acknowledge what's really happening and why it's happening and why we have to stop it. And this is one of the first starts to stopping it is our border security.
Sound of Freedom is one of those films that can legitimately change this world. So we want to ignite a fire in audiences and open their eyes to the dark reality of millions of children that need our help. Let's make this film a historic event and the start, the end of child trafficking. Theaters across this country are already selling out. Pre-order your tickets today.
Now that like I said, that was in 2023, so it is available online for you to watch now. And I think it's just very important for us not to lose what the mission is, not to lose what the point of it is, why we are doing what we're doing, why our security, why Trump is doing what he's doing, why Tom Homan is doing what he's doing. It is so important that we understand the gravity of what human trafficking does, what the gravity of mass migration does, what the gravity of assault, battery, terrorists coming in, gang violence against our American people. We are the greatest nation in the world. So why wouldn't everyone out there that's bad not want to take us down? And how do you do that? You infiltrate your borders. You infiltrate your government. You infiltrate the land. You infiltrate the people. You harm the people. You make the people fearful. You make the people afraid of going out. You make the people afraid of being free. And then you start forcing these gun laws of taking guns away. Well, then they're the only ones with the guns. It's a huge problem, and we have to look at the whole picture and not just little pieces of the picture. And the problem is the Biden administration and others that hate Donald Trump the most, like some of these rogue judges that I talked about yesterday, their goal is to take down our administration and take down Donald Trump because we are not facilitating what they want. And what they want, in my opinion, is an overthrow of this government, an overthrow of this country. Let them take over and own our people. I mean, look at what happened to Venezuela. And now look at what is happening in El Salvador. They have eliminated the gun crisis. And if you haven't watched that video, go watch that one. It's on YouTube. It's a documentary about what's going on in El Salvador and how this prison is so phenomenal for stopping it, and how they have ended the crisis. And that's because of the new president and what they're doing in El Salvador to fight against the terrorists. Let's finish with Tom Homan here.
Just one of the numbers. Let me talk about a few numbers that are important to me. Under the Biden administration, we averaged over 11,000 many days, over 12,000, even some days 15,000 illegal entrants in the United States. 15,000. You know what the number was last 24 hours? 178. 15,000 to 178. Unprecedented success. On an average day in the Biden administration, known gotaways. People we knew crossed the border because they're on video, drone traffic, or censored traffic. Crossed the border, weren't apprehended, weren't fingerprinted, weren't vetted. Average day under Joe Biden, more than 1,800 gotaways. Yesterday, 38. 38 too many? We'll get that to 0. But we went from 1,800 to 38. And finally, that was said earlier, under the first 100 days, or it was actually January 20th to April 1st, last year, 184,000 illegal aliens were released into the United States. Under this administration, 9. 4 of them were material witnesses in a criminal investigation. We need them here to testify in a serious criminal trial. 4 was extreme medical condition. We couldn't return them because they were in such bad shape. And 1 was a humanitarian issue. This is unprecedented success. The border secure. President Trump saving lives. President Trump has proven no one does it better.
I have to say, did you see that smile he had on his face? That smile that he had was, I really liked seeing that. With that smile on his face, he shows that he's proud of what he's doing.
1,500.
You know, and when you're proud of what you're doing,
and finally,
and you're proud of the success you're making, earlier, it's hard not to have those smiles on your face
first 100 days,
and show that you're proud of what you're doing, and that you're proud of your success, and you're proud of the administration that you work for and the success that they're giving to you as well.
Last year, 184,000 illegal aliens were released into the United States.
We've had such an influx in this country. And again, I think there was a big part wanting to take down our country, but I think another big part of it was that they wanted to have a voting populace that could vote out the Republicans. And if they were able to successfully keep it to where we couldn't have voter ID anywhere, then they could infiltrate so much and we would never see another Republican in the White House. And I do have to say, when it comes to Republican versus Democrats in the White House, what you're seeing today, in my opinion, is not a Republican in the White House, and not a traditional Republican. He's a moderate. He's got libertarian views. He's got liberal views. He was a liberal. He was a Democrat for many, many years. But what we're seeing right now in this administration is a MAGA administration, MAGA administration. It is not a traditional Republican in office. They are doing things that align way more with conservative, constitutionalists, moderates, libertarian, liberal, all combined into one team that and that's where you got to think about what's better for our country as far as having these party lines, Democrat versus Republican, because people tend to vote party line. And I think this is the first time that it's shown that it really isn't. MAGA is like a new party in itself, and it's combined with a whole bunch of different walks of life. And I think that's important for us to realize that it's not so much the Republican House versus the Democrat House. It is now the MAGA House against all of the other ones. That's my opinion, and it's my show, so I give my opinion.
Issue.
Whoop.
This is unprecedented success.
Look at that smile.
The border secure. President Trump saving lives. President Trump has proven no one does it better than President Trump. There is no equal, it's not even close. So God bless the men and women of the Border Patrol. God bless the men and women of ICE who strap a gun to the hip every day, put on a Kevlar vest to not only secure our border and protect our national security, but the ICE agents in the interior, they're removing public safety threats and national security threats every day. While you're all sleeping at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there are men and women out there enforcing the law and making this country safe again. And we're going to keep doing it. It's full speed ahead. So I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
That was a great press conference briefing there. I'm not going to continue with the questions from the press because, well, frankly, many of them were really stupid. So I'm not gonna include those ones. But I do like listening to the whole briefing. This whole briefing is 46 minutes or so you can go on and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's the full White House press briefing. Border Czar Tom Homan talks border security. So you can pull that up yourself if you'd like to watch the rest of that, as well as the one from today, which was really, really good as well. So the next segment, if you are not familiar, we are going to do our, you know what time it is. It's Dear Margaret time. So let's get on to our Dear Margaret segment.
Dear Margaret's here, let's dive right in. Bring your questions, let's begin. Life's a real maze. We'll help you with your coping. Dealing with life in this rat race. Honest thoughts, no sugarcoating.
Tell us your tales, your woes, your gripes. No fluff, no bows, just real life types. Sign it clever, let your pen take flight. We'll serve the truth, sharp and bright.
Send us a query, take a lead. No hidden rules, no secrets to keep. Anonymous wisdom that cuts so deep. Dear Margaret's advice you'll want to reap. But in the end, let's admit we all really don't care, Margaret.
So, in case you are not familiar with Dear Margaret, it is my take on the Dear Abby. It's my modern take on Dear Abby. You send in your questions or your advice questions or requests to Dear Margaret. You email them to dearmarg, DEARMARG, at gurltaux.com, GURLTAUX. And we will compile them. I try to put them into category order so that if when I'm doing a show on that category, I can put it in and then occasionally put some different random ones in as well. So let's get to this right now. We have I have quite a few that had to do with this. So let's see what they have to say. Sorry if I'm making too much racket here. Try not to. All right, let's get to it. The first one here is, Dear Margaret, up. I guess I was not on the ball with this. I had too much other information on my teleprompter first. So what this is though, it's I put together some that are praise for Trump's 100 days. Focusing on some of the failures of the last administration, hopes for this cabinet, and hopes for DOGE, and positivity for each one of those different areas. So, now the first question. Dear Margaret, I'm a single mom who felt unsafe walking my neighborhood last year because of crime from illegal immigrants. How's Trump fixing this, and will it last? Well, I have to say, honey, the Biden crew let criminals waltz across the border like it was a red carpet. Trump's first 100 days, he's got Tom Homan reporting 139,000 migrants that were deported, including gang members. Border crossings are down 95%. Kristi Noem's DHS is locking it down, and the Laken Riley Act means criminals get detained. Not a free bus ride, and not a catch and release. If Trump's cabinet and DOGE keep this up, your neighborhood's going to feel safe. I don't know about DOGE, but Tom Homan and his team and Kristi Noem, if they keep this up, your neighborhood's going to feel safe and much safer than it ever has before. And you're going to have the ability to take care of yourself, your family, and feel safer doing it. Keep carrying, keep having your firearms, keep doing your gun safety, keep going to training if that's what you do, but just stay vigilant and pay attention. Just because we're safer now doesn't mean we're completely 100% in the clear. It's your safety, so keep it in mind. But they are on a roll to make things much better. We just listened to Tom Homan's speech. I thought it was excellent, and that's something that you need to pay attention to. And if you didn't see that one, go back and watch the last 10 minutes or so. You'll get a feel of what Tom Homan has said about our border security. So I think it's really important that we don't treat illegals like they have a red carpet open door policy. If you remember back from the day when we had what was that movie? Red Dawn. Do you remember that movie, Red Dawn? Oh God, how old is that movie? Now there was a remake, and I didn't like it as much, but when they had that beginning of Red Dawn and all the parachutes were just coming in and they were taking over and infiltrating our country, that's kind of how it feels like with a lot of this migration, this mass dumping them into cities, flying them in the middle of the night, those kind of things. That has me really questioning our border security and what our last administration's goal was. And because I have a feeling I know what their goal was, it makes me feel so much better that we have an administration that's actually pushing for border security. Next question, number 2. Margaret, the last administration open border cost my small business thousands in theft. What's Trump doing, and can DOGE make the government stop wasting my taxes? Okay, so that was kind of a double whammy there. Well, I have to say that Biden's border was a free-for-all. They let thieves in, treating your business like a piñata. They can just take whatever they want. Trump's 100 days have ICE arresting 627% more than Biden's era, with Homan sending gang members to El Salvador, their new little slammer there. Levitt's out here calling out sanctuary cities that coddled criminals. That includes some of these judges. DOGE also, Musk already got 75,000 feds taking buyouts, cutting the fat so your taxes don't fund bureaucratic nonsense. If DOGE and Rubio's team keep slashing, you'll have more cash to grow your empire. You'll have more cash in your pocket. And on top of that, they have uncovered billions of misuse of money. So that billions will go back into reducing our deficit and ultimately giving more money back into your pocket. They're not done yet. Musk has like another 30 days and then he is out. He said he will be continuing as a part of it in and out occasionally when needed, only when needed, because he does have businesses to run himself and he hasn't been able to do that. So he will be trying to take care of uh, minor DOGE responsibilities as they come, but he's going to be leaving it in charge of people that have the ability and capabilities to make it work really well. And I'm sure they're in the process of training some of these people. Just one particular thing in to take into account. And it's silly and stupid. But when you think about it, the meaning behind it was very important. So you had one little thing on their website for DOGE, and the login button was way down here somewhere, or IRS button, DOGE button. I don't know what it was, but anyway, the login was way. I'm going to use my mouse. Well, I can't show you my mouse. Okay. So let's say down here. This is somewhere down here was where the login button is. But yet on everybody's websites, the login button is always over here. Like everybody knows this. So where it was at was hidden and hard to find and kind of subdued. And so they had asked the team, the actual team that works IT for the federal government, I need you to fix that. That button needs to be up here, not down here or down there. We need to fix that. And they said, okay, you need to submit this form. You need to fill it out. You need to submit it. And once it's submitted, it'll go through the channels. It'll take about 6 months and whatever the cost was. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're moving a button. It takes like 5 minutes. And they were like, no, we're not doing that. We're just going to go fix it. And so they just went in and fixed it. It didn't take any time at all. I think it was done in like 45 minutes or something. That's just one example of some bureaucratic bullshit that they do with this red tape crap. And we have to do it where it's more efficient and working better and our money going further, because we're not paying for 16 people to look at this form and go, okay, yeah, I think that should be done too. Check. Off to the next person. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Check. Off to the next person. 3 months later, you've got 3 check marks on it. And it needs, I literally have little check marks on my notepad here, which my notepad is what the actual fuck, asking for a friend. So it has a whole bunch of check mark areas. So you just keep going, check mark, check mark, check mark. 9 months later, 6 months later, whatever it is, they're like, okay, I'll do that. And then now it's passed down to the guy who's supposed to do it. And he's like, click, click, click. Done. So you wonder why we need DOGE? You wonder why we need some checks and balances? And the people not talking to each other. I talked about this on a show the other day. There's a individual that I consider grifting, and he is a spokesperson for the Carmelo Anthony family. And I think he's a grifter. I think he's doing it to get money, but he has started 3 nonprofits. They were filed different address, different names, different EIN numbers. All the first 2 were shut down. Well, they were revoked. The third one was just started in February of this year, so it's not revoked yet. But if they had a better checks and balance system where they would see that the same person, now he is the same person listed, but the address is different and the name of the organization is different. And if you had checks and balances where it would pop up and say, oh, the same person's already started 2 other ones and they were revoked. Why should we give him another one? Maybe we need to investigate this. So you do need to have those checks and balances. We really do. We need to pay attention to what's going on. All right, next question. Let's get to the next one. Dear Margaret, I'm tired of hearing Biden's team blamed for everything. Is Trump's administration really better, or is it just talk? Oh, sweetheart. Biden's team has earned the blame, every bit of it that they've gotten. Millions released into the U.S. illegally. Border crossings at 155,000 a month. Sometimes 15,000 a month. Sometimes more, depending on whether they flew them in. Trump's 100 days crossing are down to 7,000. And what they actually released, 9. Isn't that what Tom Homan said? 9. And they had reasons. Deportations, 139,000. That Homan has gotten ICE working overtime. They are busting it down and knocking it down. Levitt pressures are a masterclass in dragging the last administration's mentally incompetent policies administration. Biden was completely incompetent. And I think there is a chance that they could go back and even say half of the stuff that he did in the last 2 years of his administration, if not the whole time, should be null and void because he wasn't competent to do them. I mean, they did the investigation on the illegal possession of classified documents. And in that, the investigator even said he's not competent enough to handle a trial. This person had our codes, the red button codes. You know, they have to give him those codes and you're supposed to memorize them. Do you think he could remember it 5 minutes after they gave it to him? I don't think so. So I think you need to think about and watch a lot of different news broadcasters, not just the left. Trump's cabinet, Bondi, Noem, Rubio, the vice president. I mean, Tom Homan. I mean, all of these people that are in place. Levitt as his press secretary is doing a fabulous job. Look at all the lies that were coming out from the cabinet. And now look at all the media out there going, we knew it and we were hiding. We missed it. That was what was said at the celebration thing that they just had. You got an award. Yeah, we missed it. No, you didn't miss it. You purposely hid it from the American people and lied to people and tried to make, and everyone on the right, everyone in the MAGA community, everyone on the right, all the pundits and all the streamers and all the influencers and all the people that have their private citizen journalist sides, everyone was shouting it from the rooftop. This man is out of it. He's incompetent. He's not present. He doesn't even know what time it is. We're going to put him on a bicycle and show you how competent he is. He's cogent. He's the most cogent I have ever seen him. He's more cogent than I don't even know what the word cogent is, but I like it, so I'm just going to keep saying it. I mean, how many more did you have to hear talking about how amazing this man was when he couldn't walk up a set of stairs, let alone down a set of stairs, couldn't ride a bicycle like they tried to show he could ride a. Look how cogent he is. Look how amazing he is. Look at him ride this bicycle as he crashed. You know, he fell on a stage. He fell this way. He fell that way. He fell up. He fell down. I mean, that's a sign. He's shaking hands with invisible people. He's wandering around on stages. He's having to be directed by leaders from other countries that are looking at him like, what the hell is going on? And everybody's carrying his water. Here you go. Or, and maybe it's a closer aspect to everyone was carrying his ice cream. Here you go. Here you go. And if Trump and his team and this administration keep this pace, we're looking at a country where laws actually mean something. If you're worried about the gun laws and that we need more gun laws, no, we don't. We need to enforce the ones we have. Same thing with the border laws. We don't need different ones. We need to enforce the ones they had. They said, oh, we can't do anything. We can't do anything. It has to go to Congress and it has to go to this and we need to make new laws. All we needed was a new president because he made it happen. I think don't buy the noise that's being put out there. Trump's delivering. He is absolutely delivering and his team is delivering. This administration is delivering. Start investigating on your own and watching other elements, other people that are out there, including myself. Every one of my shows is not political. I do political shows when the need is there or when I feel like I have something I want to contribute or something I want to say. I don't want to say everything. That's for sure. I don't want to be a full all the time political show because there are other things happening in our world that aren't political. So I think we should be covering a variety of topics. And on my show, I cover a lot of topics that are related to women and what we want to be talking about and what we want to be doing. And one that is coming up, I'm working on right now, going to a gun range and interviewing a firearms instructor that's a female. And then there's another range that I'm going to that has ladies' night. So I'm bringing that to you on a self-defense and firearms evening. And I will share that with you when it's ready to put the show together. I will be live, of course, but I'm going to have the footage that I record when I go to the range in the next week or two. And that'll be a really cool show. I even have some footage of when my exchange daughters were here from Germany and Denmark, and we took the our Danish exchange student, now daughter. We took her to the gun range with her family when they came to visit, and it was a hoot. It was a really good time. They were so impressed and liked being able to do that because they don't have that ability in the same way in their country. So it was pretty fascinating. It was pretty neat, and it'll be neat to share that. So that'll be an upcoming episode coming pretty soon. All right. One of the things I want to add to that is we have to think about what the future holds for all of us and where we're headed, not where we were in the past. So we always have to keep account to the past so that you don't redo it and that you don't mirror it at another time. But I do want to say we don't want to focus too much on what Biden did. Let the administration, let the lawyers hash out anything that was or was not legal, and instead focus on our families and focus on what we're doing and how we can contribute and pay attention and keep your ear to the grindstone, keep your ear to the train track, know what's coming, and pay attention to what's happening so you don't get sideswiped. I think that's what's happened here is the last 20, 30 years, people just didn't pay attention to politics. They didn't pay attention to what was going on, and they just came in and took over, and the corruption was just mind-boggling. And now we're trying to get a grasp on that. So I think there's a big, huge there's a big, huge switch going on. And I think that we have to remember truth over trash. And there is enough trash out there that it's hard sometimes to dig through all the trash and find the little pieces of truth that are in there. But there is. You can find it. All right. Next one. This is number 4. Dear Margaret, I want my daughters to grow up in a safe, efficient America. What's the best case scenario with Trump's team, Trump's administration, and DOGE? All right. Well, even though I just said not to focus on the past, the last administration, but think about this. The Biden years were a master class in chaos. Open borders, crime spikes, the bloated government. Trump's 100 days shows what's possible. Deportations are up, attacks on citizens are down, DOGE trimming the federal fat. Picture this. By 2026, Homan's deported 1 million threats. Rubio's got global respect back. Musk's DOGE has government running like a Tesla factory. Your daughters? They'll grow up in America where safety's first, bureaucracy's last, and teach them to shoot straight and dream big. Shoot for the stars. We can get back to having the American dream. Raising queens, not drama queens, but raising queens, raising women who feel like they can reach for the stars. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to get back to as families, finding the American dream. As Trump's team says, the golden age of America. I mean, I'm sure he wants it to be golden because his favorite thing is gold. He has gold lined, gold trimmed, gold this, that. I mean, I think he has a gold toilet in his house in New York. Or was in New York, and Trump Tower or whatever. But the golden age of America. Find all the silver linings. Teach your daughters to strive for the most and strive for the best. And see what we're doing is going to provide the foundation for that. I think it's important that we don't focus in a negative way on the past administration, but we do see it as a warning signs. We don't want the chaos to come back. We want it to be we want it to be a light in the darkness that was the last administration, so to speak. We need to see what's happening now as that light, that we can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. That is something that we tend to forget, that we need to have. We need to have that light at the end of the tunnel. And I think sometimes we forget there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but there really is one now. And we're starting to see that. And the thing is Trump team and Trump administration is moving so fast that that's like a freight train light coming at you. So you might want to dodge out of the way a little bit, because you might get smacked with all this greatness that's happening and get caught off guard. But pay attention, see what's going on, and strive for the positive, strive for the future, strive for goodness, strive for greatness. You can make America great again, but you can also make schools great again. You can make teenagers great again. You could make all sorts of things great again. And, I would suggest maybe getting a little off social media. That doesn't help anyone, honestly. That's my opinion. Let's get to the next question. Margaret, I'm a nurse who dealt with hospital overcrowding from illegal immigrants under Biden. Is Trump's border fixing helping? And what's next? That's a good question. Biden's borders turned hospitals into Grand Central Station for non-citizens, stretching you thinner, stretching us thinner, stretching the administrations thinner, and losing money because there's nobody going to pay for it. Border crossings are down by 95%, and Homan has deported 139,000 migrants, criminals. They're clearing out the chaos that will make that smoother and better for you. I'm sure you must be in a city where there's an awful lot of migrants. Kristi Noem, DHS is prioritizing citizens. The Lake and Riley Act keeps criminals locked up, not in your ER. If Pam Bondi, DOJ, and DOGE streamline healthcare or red tape, you'll have beds for patients, not politics. Keep saving lives, being a rock star. Keep doing that and teaching other kids and our future to do the same. I think it's important for us to remember that and to heal the hearts of this nation. With everything that has gone on, they've taken part of everything that we have. They've been taking it apart piece by piece, and now we're putting it back together like a puzzle. And it's, they're looking for different pieces right now to put it all back together. But when it's all put back together, we're going to have healed hearts and healed minds and a healed country. I think it's important that we focus on that, focus on the healing part, because there's a lot of bitterness and there's a lot of distrust and there's a lot of hatred. And we have to start healing one family at a time, one friendship at a time, one community at a time, one county at a time, one city at a time, one state at a time, until we're all put back together. All the pieces are put back together, and then we have one country back together, healed. There's going to be bad people. There's never going to not be bad people. But they'll be easier to find and easier to spot when we get rid of the mass amounts of negativity and badness happening. I think that's important. I think we need to take that into account, and we need to be paying attention to that. Got a couple more questions, and we will hopefully we'll get through all of these. I had 8 for today because it was Trump's 100 days. I wasn't going to put 100 because we'd be here all night. But I thought it was important to do a few more than we normally do. All right, so we are on to number I think number 6. All right, here we go. Dear Margaret, my city taxes went up to cover Biden's migrant shelters. How's Trump's team saving my wallet? And will DOGE help? Babe. So important. Biden's welcome mat on the border, not even to wipe your feet. That was his border policy. Had our cities footing the bill for migrant hotels, their cards to go eat because they didn't like the food being served to them. Oh, poor thing. And we were all scraping by. So again, I'm going to repeat. In Trump's first 100 days, Homan's deported 139,000. Leavitt is cracking down on, Leavitt's not. She's just reporting it, but they're cracking down on sanctuary cities that bleed you dry. I'm assuming you must be in one of those type of areas. DOGE is the real MVP here because they are cutting many jobs, saving us billions on improper spending, fraud, abuse. and Noam and Rubio and Vice President are keeping the pressure on. They're going after these countries, the tariffs and negotiations to reduce the tariffs, and your taxes could drop. They're talking a lot about, when this is all done and said, that it should save American people on their taxes. The cities won't be migrant pit stops. Stash that cash for a new rainy day. But, keep in mind, things are looking better. They're getting better. Egg prices are down. The utilities are starting to see something. Interest rates are starting to show something. I think it's going to start in the big cities first, and then it's going to filter down to the other states and smaller towns and cities and the country. It's going to trickle down, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So we need to make sure that pinching pennies does not mean pinching principles. We got to keep our principles in place. We got to keep our wits about us. And DOGE going in and cutting the fat and cutting the fraud and the misuse and abuse of federal money is a really great way for us for that trickle down effect to come down to our end of things, where we are getting more for our buck. We're getting more for our money, because it's not going to fund some of these crazy things that were found by DOGE. Now, that has slimmed down already. You don't hear DOGE talking as much about all these crazy things, because they found the majority of them and they got rid of them. And that is going to put money back in our pocket, even if it's not directly, they're not mailing us a check. But if they reduce our deficit and they reduce the money that we're putting out, and it helps with federal spending, and ultimately it will come down to saving money. And the bill they're working on now with the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. I really wish they would do no tax on retirement, but that hasn't been talked about yet. It would be nice if that would be the next one that they would talk about. But they have talked slightly about no tax on military or veterans. So I would like to see those things come to fruition, because I think that would save an awful lot of people more taxes as well. No tax on Social Security, and I think it's huge. Like my mom, I was talking to my mom about this yesterday. And my mom's 84. She lives with us. She's retired. She was a former foreign service officer, diplomat with our State Department, and she's retired. So she has a great retirement plan through the federal government, but yet she still has Social Security and she still gets taxed. And it's like getting double taxed, because when you get paid initially, you pay a tax, and then you pay another. What? Why do I have to get taxed again? So, and then they use your money in the interim until it's starting to get dispersed to you. And all of it's not given to you in a lump sum check when you retire. So they still have money and they're still making an interest off of your money. So I think you have to, I think they have to look at all of those things. And it would be nice when they start really giving money back to the American people. I think that would be really important. And I think I'm going to do these last two real quick instead, because I don't really have a whole lot of time left. I have just a couple minutes left, and I want to make sure that we get this all done. And I don't leave these last two questions out here. Dear Margaret, I'm a teacher worried about gang influence in schools from the last administration policy. Is Trump's team making my classroom safer? Sweetie, Biden's lacks of borders let gangs like Tren de Aragua and MS-13 creep into schools, creep into neighborhoods, creep into apartment complexes, and take over, scaring families, scaring kids, and causing other kids to get bold with their acting out and doing some crazy stuff. I think with the new border security, Tom Homan and his team have already deported 250,000 gang members back to El Salvador, and they're arresting more as we speak. And I think it's also going to be important to make sure that we are not letting judges and rogue people protect these migrants and saying that they're a Maryland man when they're not. They're an illegal MS-13 gang member. They're calling out the last administration's see no evil attitude. The DOJ is targeting gang recruitment and gang members. DOGE cut education bloat and is sending it back to the states. Now, DOGE didn't cut it. They made the recommendation. Trump is the one who cut it. But funding schools in your state is so much smarter. And getting rid of all this woke nonsense, all that stuff. Every single bit of that will keep shaping the minds of our kids and keep them sharp and help them to get better and wiser and able to become really great adults and citizens of this country that can contribute because they've learned so much from the last administration of what we had before. So we don't need to sell out. That's what I'm saying. The last question here is, Dear Margaret, I'm hopeful but skeptical about Trump's promises. What's the dream outcome for his administration and DOGE by 2028? Darling, I get that side eye. Biden's era was all talk, no walk. Trump's 100 days has already delivered. DOGE is slashing prices, money that has been spent in really horrible places and ways. And the team, the administration, the cabinet that Trump has put together it is just amazing. They're doing a much better job. They're leaner. They're more fit. They're almost better than a CrossFit coach. My son, Andy, I don't know. He was a CrossFit coach. And the attacks on citizens are near zero. Your streets are safer. If you believe in the plan and you keep your eye on the prize and your mind sharp and you're paying attention to what's going on, you will find out that we have a much better and much safer area that we have. I know there was a time when I had to stand my ground. And when we have to stand our ground and defend ourselves, and we are not equipped with the tools to do so, we have a much harder time. And Trump's focus is on empowering our law enforcement, empowering the American people, giving us the tools that we need to be safer, smarter, leaner, healthier, safer, and financially more independent. Don't let the past administration nor the pundits that are out there pushing that Donald Trump has a bad agenda cause you to lose focus of the brighter future, the golden age of America. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been Trump's 100 days and they just started. More has happened in that 100 days than happened in the entire Biden administration. And I think for the positive. Live free and be proud. Don't let the haters dim your light. Keep shining. Keep fighting for what's right. Keep believing. Keep worshiping where you worship and keep doing the things you do and pay attention to what's happening. Don't just put blinders on. Don't forget to drop your Dear Margaret questions in the comments or to email them to Dear Marge, DEARMARG, to Gurl TauX at gurltaux.com. Subscribe to Gurl TauX. Grab some ideas and send them to us. Show the world you're a badass who backs the truth. I'll be here next time. We're diving into I think there's a good story here with why the Second Amendment is non-negotiable. You don't want to miss it. I will be putting that show together here shortly as we go into self-defense. I want you all to be empowered to do more and be a part of my tribe, but be a part of the world of what's going on. I appreciate you being here. I really thank you for being here. Start by joining my tribe. Go to my Facebook, my YouTube. I have a Facebook group. Subscribe on my YouTube channel. I'm new on this show. This is growing. My old show is gone. So I'm doing a whole new thing. And like I said, I brought my sparklies because I'm really happy with what happened in these first 100 days. So it is our time. I do appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share my channel with others. And also to ring that bell. And remember, for those of you that are sassy out there, I'm not mean. You're just a sissy. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate this. And don't forget, my time has changed from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Even though my thank you song still says 7, it is 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Thank you for watching Gurl TauX live broadcast, which airs weekdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
5 p.m.
Don't forget to send in your Dear Margaret questions. Then join us for our opinion-based answers. We love having you. Thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share with your friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night. Good night.